What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Dave.
I'm Jared.
Today we're going to talk about what freedoms, if any, would you give up for comfort?
A lot of people would, I think, die for the word freedom. And in America, to be honest, I'm not sure we have as much as we think, which is an interesting thing we can talk about.
Right.
But honestly, there's a lot of things I think we give up just to make our lives a little better. Like, I think...
Right, at least the majority of people.
Yeah.
I think.
I think one interesting thing is, like, the NSA. I don't know if you saw Snowden. I'm sure a lot of you guys have. Snowden is a guy who worked for NSA, CIA, FBI, and he got a lot of people's information and was, like, technically supposed to be seeking out threats for national security by looking through people's data. And a lot of red flags would come up and he would find stuff, and it would lead him to just watching random American citizens. And they technically were supposed to have a FISA warrant, but they likened the judge that released FISA warrants to Darth Vader. He would just give them to whoever for whatever reason. So that's like one thing that we are fighting against big time, but that's a big freedom that's dangerous, just a freedom of your own information.
So freedom of privacy for the most part.
Yeah. Which, what is that, Fourth Amendment?
I'm not too sure off the top of my head. But, I mean, I don't know that I'd give up my privacy for freedom.
Well, not knowingly.
Right.
But how do we catch them or stop them from that in the first place? Like, that's got to be within government.
You got to be like a super hacker.
Do you even trust the government to stop them from doing it if they go too far?
No.
That's trippy.
What do you trust the government for on a lot of things?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a whole nother segment. We should not.
That's like the anti-gun zones. You know, the gun laws. You know, they press so hard for gun laws to protect you.
Did you hear about DeWine came out with what is it, Strong Ohio? He's coming out with gun laws.
Yeah, I heard something about it. I didn't really look into it.
He's pushing the big things most of the Democrats are pushing. So one of them is background checks. Like, if I wanted to sell you a gun, you would have to get a background check. Oh yeah, your family could say that you're unstable, and they could come take your guns away.
It's like that red flag law. Isn't that what that is?
It is what it is. He is saying that it's going to be stronger due process, but we'll see. I don't know if it's passed yet or not. I just found out about it today, and I'm like freaked out, but also like, you know, maybe it's not a bad thing.
I feel like they should have to prove that you're a danger to society and yourself. I mean,
well, yeah, that's the whole due process.
Okay.
So your sister says Dave is a threat to himself and other people. And so then they come. I don't know if they seize your guns right away or if you have to go to court first. But you do then go to court. You'll probably have to go through some kind of psych evaluation.
Right. And
then they'll say, yes, you're crazy. No guns for you, Dave. Or, no, he's not crazy. Sorry, sis.
Right. See, I feel like, I think what I was under the impression of is that they come and take your guns, and then you go to court, and if you pass whatever requirements or whatever the process is, then you get your guns back. But I know they're not in any hurry to take you to court. I know they're not in any hurry to give you your guns back.
Yeah, if they take the guns first and then just like, yeah, we're gonna go to court
2 years from now.
Yeah, eventually we're gonna get there. That's a little sketchy. But yeah. I actually just joined a group on Facebook. My grandma invited me to. It was called Ohio Patriots Unite or something like that. And they're all emailing their sheriffs, because you know what's going on in Virginia, right?
Oh yeah.
The sheriffs are basically saying we're not going to enforce the governor's gun laws, and they're declaring sanctuary counties.
Yeah, counties.
Yeah. And so a lot of people are now afraid of Mike DeWine. They are saying and emailing and mailing into their sheriffs, and they are saying, like, hey, are you going to be enforcing this? Are you going to be upholding the Constitution? Every single sheriff has sent back almost the exact same letter saying, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, that is what I'll do, period, including the Second Amendment, which is super fuzzy and gray, because how are you supposed to know that what their opinion of what the Second Amendment means is the same as what you believe it means? Maybe they believe the Second Amendment is just muskets, like some gun grabbers are trying to say.
Right. But see, that's when it was wrote, was back in them times, but it really doesn't say which gun or what type of guns or what type of weapons, period, you can and cannot own. It just says to protect you and yourself from society and the government.
Right. And that's one thing, like, protecting yourself from the government. That's, like, I think what they were thinking about.
Right. That's a gray area.
Right.
You know, everybody's pushing for gun control on assault weapons.
That's basically just semi-automatic anything. Anything you can pull the trigger a bunch of times.
Right. I mean, but you think about it, when they say assault weapons or whatever, baseball bat can be an assault weapon.
Yeah, that's true.
Why else do you get an assault charge for hitting somebody with a bat, if it were to come down to that point?
Oh, well, for sure. I do think what they mean is semi-automatic weapons, but it's a super vague thing that they can say, we just want these weapons that are used to hurt people off the street. Well, in England, they're trying to ban knives because there's been so many stabbings.
Well, they're trying to ban straws in California.
Right. Because that one picture of the sea turtle with the straw in its nose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of understand that.
For sure. Here's the thing, though. Unless you want to carry a metal straw around with you,
paper straws.
Those paper straws melt, dude. It's so bad.
I had one. Speaking of that, we went to, where'd we go the other day? And was it Chipotle? I think Chipotle uses paper straws.
I don't know. Disney World is all paper straws. We actually bought metal straws just to take to Disney because I was getting mad about the paper straws melting in my coffee. But
caution, hot.
Right.
But yeah.
Are you willing to give up plastic straws for the environment? Is that a freedom you're willing to give up?
Is having a plastic straw really a freedom, though? I think that's more
freedom to choose what product you want to use.
Yeah, but that's more of a comfort item.
Comfort, safety. What was it that Ben Franklin said?
Oh,
I got it in the glove box.
What did he say? Ben Franklin: those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Okay.
So I guess no.
Well, safety and comfort are a little different, but I think that if you're willing to give up freedom for comfort, that's even worse.
Right. I think what it comes down to at the end of the day is people just need to be a little more responsible.
For sure.
That's just my take on a lot of things.
Here's my opinion with the whole climate change and trash in the sea and stuff. Like, obviously, we don't want to be throwing our garbage on the ground and letting it wash into the ocean.
Right.
But most of what is going into the ocean, like, I think it's over 80% of what's going into the ocean is not coming out of America. So why are we restricting ourselves to such an extreme point to where it's like actually like we're causing discomfort on ourselves for things that are going to landfills or getting recycled?
Right.
To where other countries aren't doing anything. They're not abiding by the Paris Accords.
Right. I mean, it could be we're trying to set an example for the world, I guess.
But are they following it?
No.
That's the issue.
Right. That is a big issue. I mean, I don't know that I really have too much to comment on that. that one's got me.
Right. I mean, I don't know.
I agree. The trash in the oceans and the lakes and rivers and stuff is kind of extreme, and that goes for the pollution too.
Right.
In the water.
And also, you remember how they said, like in the history books when we were in school, how the Ohio River used to actually be flammable?
Yeah.
That, Mississippi, and a couple others were actually like so dirty they were flammable. Now, like,
they're clean.
You can't drink out of them by any means, but
they're
you can't lay them on fire. Fish are living in them.
Right.
Like, so at what point can the Earth heal itself from our stupidity anyway? Because it's shown that
it would take time, but I think a lot of that is just the strict. What is it when they? Crap.
Technical difficulties, everybody. We're getting back.
Right. The whole pollution from using the water and getting dumped back into the water, just their processes are cleaner than they used to be. That's like Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Lake Erie used to be super nasty, and now Lake Erie is the cleanest it's ever been. And I only know that because my dad's a big time fisherman and he's constantly up there, constantly researching it. You know, so I trust his word.
Right.
You know.
And you can kind of tell. I mean.
Oh, for sure. Like we'll go fishing up there sometimes, and the water is actually pretty clear. You know, but I think that people should pay a little more attention to with the pollution and the littering.
Oh yeah.
You know, who's to say that a lot of that stuff isn't coming off of a trash barge floating down a river?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that there are pretty strict guidelines on how they're supposed to load their trash so it doesn't fall off like that.
Right.
But, you know, there's always one company that wants to screw it over for everybody.
Oh, for sure. There's always that one person that says, you know what, forget about it.
I had an interesting thought earlier. It's not, I mean, it is a freedom that you're giving up. It's not for a comfort necessarily or a safety necessarily, but giving up your time and ability to do whatever you want in order to have children.
Well, I kind of already did that.
Right? This dude works 2 jobs so he can take care of his kids.
I did that times 3. But, right. I mean, I don't necessarily know that I gave up my time, just because that was a choice that I made to have kids. You know, I've always wanted kids since I was a little kid. I don't necessarily know I don't know that I would consider that a freedom. You know, a freedom
to do whatever you want, whenever you want.
Freedom of free choice, or freedom, you know, to do as I please. That was more so a personal choice.
Right. I agree, but like I have a dog, and it is nowhere near as high maintenance as a child, obviously.
You'd be surprised sometimes.
But I can't just call off work for a week, like randomly, and just go to Florida. You know what I mean? Like, right. I can't just take off, like, or be out all night after work.
Just leave everything at home as it is.
Right.
I understand.
Like, the dog would die, or the child, I would be in trouble. Right. So there is like a transfer of, I'm giving up a lot of my time in order to have this thing. Now,
right.
We're going to talk about another time. We're going to talk about purpose of life, meaning of life, and I think that family might be like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, meaning.
Oh, for sure.
But
right,
you're giving up something to have that.
Yeah, you're giving up, like you said, your choice to do as you please, when you please. You know, to sit down and raise these little crumb snatchers. You know, I love my kids to death. I'd do anything for them, but here's the way I looked at it. A lot of people are kind of back and forth. You know, I had kids when I was young. I had my first kid when I was 20, right before I got married the first time. I'm not married again, but when I got married the first time, we had our first daughter, and then I chose to have kids young because I still want to be at a younger age when my kids are grown and still be able to go out and enjoy my life. Right. You know, still be able-bodied to, you know, go jet skiing or, you know, go climb a mountain if I want to climb a mountain, which that'll probably never happen.
But it'd be nice to have the freedom to do that. Yeah.
You know, and that's, my cutoff was 30 years old, and I had my youngest at 28. So I made my cutoff. I went and took care of business. No more babies for myself. So I gave up that freedom, I guess, for a very short period of time, which is only 18 years. You know, average life expectancy is what? 50 to 60 years old.
Yeah,
we'll say 50 to 70. Give it a little more broad, you know. But I would do it again. I would make the same choice again.
For sure.
You know,
so it's worth giving up that ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want, to have the kid and have the relationship?
For a short period of time, absolutely.
For a short period of time. So what if they just never move out?
They're 18, they're adults. I can still leave them at home.
That's true.
You know, I mean, if you're gonna live with me, it's, you know, my rules. You know, you need to respect my things. You know, I'm sure you'd feel the same way.
Yeah. What age do you kick them out?
See, I don't know that I kick my kids out.
No?
I don't. I mean, my parents never kicked me out.
Oh, mine did.
Well, some parents are a little more strict than others, for sure.
And sometimes it just doesn't work. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Right. If it's not working, and they're not showing responsibility, and they're not showing, you know, a good attitude towards bettering themselves, and of course, you know, you got to be that parent. And hey, it's time to go and boot them out. You know, I understand that.
Would you be willing to give up your right to protect yourself, as in like owning a firearm completely, in order to allow the government to maybe beef up the military and the police force and trust them to protect you instead of allowing yourself or protecting yourself?
Now, is it a guarantee that every single gun is off the streets? Guaranteed? Because, I mean, there really is no guarantee with that.
Right, exactly. If you're being realistic, there is no guarantee, so I have to say no, there's no guarantee.
Then no, I would not.
I mean, I agree with you, but a lot of people say yes. Like, what was that kid with the scrunched up face that he was talking that he was Hobbs or something like that? You know, the kid
I don't think I know.
He was a big proponent of gun control, and he just disappeared after he said some super like anti-Jew like stuff. I can't remember. His name is David Hobb, I think. But he
oh, that kid.
Yeah.
After the school shooting down in Florida?
I think it was in Florida. But yeah, then he just traveled everywhere and
he was everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, you don't hear nothing about that kid no more.
Yeah, but the big thing was a bunch of kids in schools were saying, "Why won't you take guns away? Why won't you get rid of guns to keep us safe?" It was like their big, like, people just randomly can have guns and can, you know, get past the one police officer at the door and come shoot us all. Like, if we get rid of guns, that can't happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, though.
Right.
I don't know. I know what I want to say, but I don't know exactly how to say it. They can say get rid of all the guns. They can say, well, that'll protect us, but you and I both know that that's not going to be the case. Like, there's other things in this world that are illegal that are still causing more deaths than gun deaths.
Oh, for sure. Gun deaths are definitely, like, even compared to car accidents, compared to heart disease, obesity, stabbings, it's less than those.
Right.
Like, and it continues to go down. It doesn't continue to go up. It's not, gun control is not helping. Is people are having to learn and be more informed, and that's what's keeping people from shooting people. Right.
I know there's a city somewhere, and I don't know if it's in Texas or what, but I want to say every citizen there is essentially told by their mayor that they are to own a gun for personal safety, and I guess like crime rate there is like ridiculously low.
Oh, this is another country. I know what you're talking about.
I think
every person is required in America.
Yeah, it's a city thing. I had to find out. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm pretty sure there is one here. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Well, that's awesome, and I would love to see those stats. Unfortunately, we don't have those. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I'm a firm believer that the best and fastest deterrent to danger upon my life or your life is stopping them yourself.
Right.
Having the weapon, being able to say, listen, I feel threatened, you have a weapon, I see motive, I see a weapon, I will defend myself if you do not stop.
Right.
And defend yourself if need be.
Absolutely.
That's the fastest, that's the best way. Unfortunately, not everybody's military or police trained, so there are people who make mistakes in that, but
I mean, it would be proficient if everybody that owns, I mean, I know they try when you buy a gun or see, concealed carry, you got to go through classes and stuff.
It's an 8-hour course for CCW. They tell you, they make sure you know how to shoot a firearm, that you know that you're liable if your bullet goes through a person and
hits somebody else,
or if somebody was trying to rob you and they pulled out a gun and shot and they missed you and you shot back, clear self-defense, the bullet goes through them and it goes into my car, you're liable for the damage to my car.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I should be.
It's everything that your bullet touches beyond its intended target is you're liable for that. That's your damage. Right. So that's a big thing that you learn, but like it goes into that depth where you have to sit through an 8-hour course in order to be allowed to in Ohio conceal carry.
It should, though. I mean, that teaches you responsibility. It helps you learn awareness of your surroundings. What you're shooting at and what's behind it. Right.
I'll tell you what, that class terrified my wife.
Really?
It did, yeah. Because she, it was just an eye opener to her, because I don't know if she she didn't grow up around firearms, so in her head, it's already scary because guns are dangerous.
Right.
And that's droned into everybody's head. Everybody knows guns are dangerous.
No, spoons are dangerous.
Right. But then two, she's thinking all of a sudden she has this whole realm of, if I leave my gun unlocked in my dresser and somebody comes into my house and is just messing around with it and accidentally shoots himself, I'm liable for that. And
right.
So when we came home, she's like, we need to get something to lock all the guns up and make sure that they are secure and we can get to them if we need to fast, but and she
right.
just, all these thoughts came into her head that she didn't think of because she had no previous firearms training before this, and it was terrifying for her to understand and have the reality of the responsibility of owning and being able to carry a firearm.
Right. I mean, it's okay to be terrified of it. I mean, when you're not terrified of something is when bad things happen.
For sure. Fear is healthy to an extent.
Right. I mean, there was a time when I was a little younger, I was terrified of guns. I mean, now I have them. And I think that having one is, you're going to make a left up here.
Yeah.
I think that having one is done a lot for myself, as the, feeling more comfortable in my home at night, especially when I have my children. I mean, I know that if anything happens, I don't have to wait 10, 20 minutes for somebody to get there.
Right.
I don't have to wait. I don't have to pick up my phone first and call.
I think that is also a huge point. I don't think people understand that they're just not just cops on every corner of everywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
They are not thinking that it's going to take a cop at least 10 minutes on average to get to you, to protect you.
Right.
In 10 minutes, you know how much can happen in 10 minutes? It could be life ending for everybody in the house.
Something can happen and that guy could be in the next city over in a matter of 10 minutes. I mean, and that's why for me, I feel for everybody should own at least one gun for personal protection. I can stand my gun up in the corner of the room. It ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Right.
I mean,
I think that I know that a lot of gun people, I don't know how to say it, people who are for the Second Amendment like to think that leftists think that the gun will fall over or stand up and shoot somebody, but I really think that that's weak on the proponent side. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody thinks the gun's going to stand up and shoot anybody.
Anybody that has, I guess you can say, some form of common sense knows that that's not what's going to happen. I mean, they say, for instance, and I'm not trying to point the finger at anybody, but they talk about obesity being at an all-time high for our country. Why aren't we blaming it on the spoon then?
Right.
You know, you want to blame all these gun deaths on the gun, but not the person. They want to blame it on the object and not an individual. But at the end of the day, you have, again, the freedom to choose to eat healthy or eat McDonald's 10 times a day for the rest of your life. You know, you want to eat chicken nuggets all day. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that are blamed, I feel, on the object and not the person.
Right.
But I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's the freedom that you have.
Yeah.
That's all we have for today. If there's anything that we didn't touch base on, you'd like us to talk about, freedoms for comfort, or freedoms that we may have given up that we don't really think about, that would be another video we touch base on. Leave a comment down in the comment section. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the like button, show us some love. We will give a random subscriber a shout out at the end of the next video. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.